Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. Just want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors for this episode of EntreProgrammers, DigitalOcean. So I've talked about DigitalOcean a lot before on the show, and that's because they're just such an awesome company. I use them to host all of my websites, basically simpleprogrammer.com, which gets around 200,000 page views a month, runs on there, super smooth. Get Up and Code runs on there. The EntreProgrammers podcast that you're listening to right now, we use DigitalOcean for that. I use it for just about everything, and it's such a good deal. You know, as far as hosting goes, right, if you're going to run your own Linux server and do your own web hosting at $5 a month, which is the starting plan for DigitalOcean, you just really can't beat that. It's crazy. And when you do need something super powerful, DigitalOcean comes through for you as well, and it's so easy to scale up to that. I started out on Simple Programmer with a $10 a month box, and I was even able with that to get 100,000 page views a month without much of a problem. But when I wanted to scale up, all I had to do was bring the server down, expand the size, go up to the higher size droplet, and bam, I was up there, and I've expanded it a couple of times since then. So DigitalOcean, definitely awesome company. I would definitely recommend that you check it out if you have any idea of creating a website online, or you want to have your own Linux server to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, some development or put out a production app. There's a ton of great things that you can do with DigitalOcean. Go to digitalocean.com and use the code EntreProgrammers to get $10 credit. So digitalocean.com, EntreProgrammers is your code, and you get $10 credit, good for basically 2 months at a $5 box, so you can check it out.
Yay!
All right, we're here. Without John.
Yeah, no John.
No John. He's in
I've been
China.
getting occasional text messages from him from behind the Great Firewall of China. His Chromebook stopped connecting like on the second day. So he's basically been I mean, this is John we're talking about, right? So he basically has no internet connection. He can't work. He can't lift weights. He can't run, and they're force feeding him high carb, crappy food. So I mean, you can imagine how that's going.
And he's there for how long?
3 weeks.
Wow.
So every once in a while his VPN connection comes back up, and I'll get like 2 messages on Slack from him, and then he goes dark for 12 hours. So
amazing.
Yep.
Apparently he picked the wrong VPN service.
Yeah. One of those things you can't really test.
They caught on to him.
They did.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
I am so tired. By the way, I'm going to be gone next week because I'm doing Boy Scout leader training stuff.
Okay.
And
I'm also going to be gone next week because I'm taking the week off. So I don't know.
So no EntreProgrammers next week.
I guess.
I ain't
yeah.
doing this by myself.
This is
the Derick show.
This will be the first one that we've missed, actually, ever.
I think so. I don't think there's ever been a week without 2 of us to sit here and scream at each other for 2 hours.
Yeah, the peasants will rise up with pitchforks.
Yes. All right, so today's episode is going to be 4 hours long.
Right.
And then you can just listen to the second half next week.
There we go. Or we
I
can have
have
Eric
time.
split it at a cliffhanger.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, I have to go to the doctor's and turn my head and cough so I can go up to this camp.
Yay.
I know, I love getting physical.
Yes. Let's get physical. Physical.
Yeah, I think that should be our new lead-in song.
There we go.
Or at least the title for the episode.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm taking my daughter whenever I go for a walk now, because we just walked probably
For a walk, not playing Pokemon Go or anything.
That's exactly what we did. She held the phone and she caught the Pokemon.
Nice.
She caught an even dozen, I think.
Nice.
And we just walked over to the church and back, which is like maybe a third of a mile.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just like, holy cow, kid.
So my kids, we've been playing like at night which is a problem, right? Because we're all like dressed for bed. And then last night, it was like we opened it up and there's no Pokemon. they're like they can see like there's this Pokemon that's about a mile away that's like hovering over the Walmart. It looks like this gigantic demon dragon that's hovering over the Walmart. So they keep why, Daddy, let's go get that one. I'm like, no, you don't understand. We actually have to get in the car and go drive.
Is that on top of a big tower?
Yeah.
That's a Pokemon gym. It's not one that you can capture.
You have to go. You have to go fight it.
Right. That is somebody else's Pokemon that has taken over that gym, and you would go over there and fight them to try and control the gym.
I gotcha. Which at this point I would get. So far I've got a Caterpillar. Yeah. So I think I would probably not last very long against the dragon.
Yeah. I've got a flaming pony horse thing as my top one, but I haven't done any fighting yet because they're still pretty weak.
That's the other thing that was so sick with my. We're out there walking around, and I think 2 of my top 5, including my top Pokemon now, my daughter caught it this morning. and I've been like upgrading, you know. I evolved a pigeon, whatever it's called, and it's like, oh, okay, so you just go find one that's already evolved that kicks the crap out of anything else.
Yeah, I have no real connection to Pokemon other than this game. This is literally the first time I've ever done anything with it, and I'm such a lazy player. I literally will put 0 effort into it. I'll pull my phone out, turn it on. If there's something there, I capture it. If I have to turn around, I won't bother. It's like, I'm not going to turn around if there's something. It's just, I'll turn off the augmented reality just so it'll show up on my phone without me having to turn my camera around.
That's funny.
But it's entertaining, though. I have a bunch of friends that play it, so whenever they're around, we all turn it on and look for Pokemon and stuff. That's like the only time that I'll actually really do anything even remotely close to looking for one.
Yeah, if I'm out and about, like if I'm at Walmart or something, I'll turn it on while I'm walking around. But yeah, for me it's mostly just to hang out with my kids.
Yeah, my kids are pretty excited about it. I haven't done any walking around the neighborhood with them or anything yet. We live in a very suburban neighborhood, so there's no schools, there's no businesses, there's nothing really close by within walking distance where we'd be able to find any real activity. But we take them like to the park or something and do it with them.
Yeah, there's
walk up and
there's
down the street and fight your neighbors.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's some green space in the neighborhood here that has some irrigation ponds in it, and so there's a Pokemon gym that I can walk to in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
So I either walk over to the church because they have the Pokestop where you get the Pokemon balls, or I'll walk them over there and we'll go fight Pokemon.
I can't believe we just spent 10 minutes talking about this.
I know.
Next week it's going to be all Pokemon. Like, we're all going to be sucked into this thing neck deep, and we're going to be like...
That's the truth of why this isn't happening next week. We're all going to be out on Pokemon safaris.
Well, my thing is, and I think it's relevant to what we discuss here, is that, you know, this is something that I'm doing with my kids, and it's you know, it's a lifestyle decision that, because I mean, I stop it periodically and check and see if there's something around, and I'm out. But yeah, for me, it's, you know, my 10-year-old is way into it, and so when I take him out looking for Pokemon, I mean, he's screaming and yelling up and down the street catching Pokemon, and you know, and it's time together, so
yeah.
Chuck's doing it for the children, is what he's trying to tell us.
That's right. For the children.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I downloaded it just to see what the heck it was all about, and then my kids saw the freaking Pokemon ball on my screen.
Yeah.
And it was all over after that. It's like
yeah, see, I've been telling people, it's research, you know. I have a show about iOS apps, so
that's right.
I get it.
Oh my gosh, the server was down the other night. So
they
were
constantly going down.
All excited. They were all excited anyways. So like bedtime, we're gonna play for a minute, and then the server was down, and I was trying to explain to them what that meant, and they're like, you know, our oldest is 5, so.
Come on, Dad. You just don't want to play tonight.
Quit breaking the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. So this last week I've spent a ton of time automating stuff.
Nice.
Basically, it's the guest onboarding that I'm working on right now, and some of the sponsorship stuff, but mostly it's the guest onboarding. So what I've done is I created Calendly accounts for each of the shows because Calendly is so nice. You can only have one calendar picked on your Calendly account. So since
If
I have
it's
different
free, right?
No, if you pay for like team access and stuff, it's still the team access doesn't work that way. What the team access is
Oh, yeah, I got you.
if anybody on the team is free, or if
Yeah, that makes sense.
so I now have 6 Calendly accounts,
Wow.
and it's nice though because you can hook Calendly into Zapier and it does all the reminders and stuff. So basically, at this point, Calendly is going to be sending out the reminder like 2 weeks ahead of the scheduled podcast that says, "Hey, we're going to start talking about this stuff," and it's going to here's how you connect, and then it's going to remind them like 3 days before and 1 day before, so that we're all set to go. And then the other automation stuff and so I still have to do that, and then the other automation I want to do is I want to create a Google Doc whenever we have a new show with a guest. And what I'm planning on doing there is then they can put in, go look at this stuff, and then also we can start putting in the things that we want to ask and stuff, and we can, they can start filling in some of the blanks for us, and that way we sort of have an outline for the show.
Right.
We don't have to stick to it hard and fast because I like some of the freeform discussion. So if somebody has a question come to mind during the show that's not in the outline, then we'll just add it to it, but then I can hand all that off to podcast editor, and it just gets into the show notes.
And it gives you a place to put the picks ahead of time, too.
Yeah,
so.
all that stuff. So I think that'll make the show quality a little bit better, and I think it'll make getting higher quality show notes and things like that better, too.
Nice.
And, yeah, so I'm working on automating that, and then I have I finished the press kit for the sponsorships, and I set everything up so that it's a CPM instead of and per episode instead of per quarter. And I've been talking to all kinds of folks now that are interested in buying 5 episodes here or a quarter there or whatever. So I think that's going to be a positive move overall. And then I'm getting ready to switch all of the ads over to mid-rolls instead of pre-rolls.
Nice.
So that's kind of been my week. It's been crazy just dealing with all this stuff and then trying to make sure that everything's ready for me to not be around for a week.
So I have to derail the conversation for a moment, Chuck, and ask, is that a Lego TIE Fighter on your shelf?
Yes.
Yay!
I see yours, yeah.
Yes, I have the same one behind me.
Yeah, I bought it and then...
Oh, yeah, there it is. It's perched on top of your Heil stand there.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Anyway, so I bought it, and what we do is every Friday afternoon we go do something together as a family. So it's our family or our Friday treat, and sometimes we just go to the gas station, let the kids pick a candy bar, and sometimes we go see a movie or go to dinner or something like that as a family. And so I bought that because my kids love Lego stuff. And so I bought it, and then that was what we did for our Friday treat one time was we just sat down and built it together.
Nice. Yeah, so I've got that one up above me. Sitting right next to it is the Juk 14 Stealth Fighter. And then up above me where you can't see, I have the Ultimate Collector set for Boba Fett's Slave 1. I have the Millennium Falcon over on another shelf. And then I have a whole Boba Fett shelf up above me with lots of different stuff, including the carbon freezing chamber from...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's got Boba Fett and it's got Han Solo in carbonite and everything. It's pretty slick. I haven't put that one together yet, but I need to pull that one down. And I usually do these myself because I really like doing Legos. I don't know what it is about them, but I love building Lego sets. But I'm probably going to have my kids help me out with that carbon freezing chamber.
Yeah, it's a fun way to go. It's a good way to spend time with them. And yeah, I'm planning on buying more of them The kids know that they're daddy's Legos.
Yeah, we have thousands of Legos out in our play area, and my son spends like all day, every day, whenever we're home, just playing Legos. He's obsessed with them.
Yeah, that's my son, my 10-year-old. He just So they'd get along just fine.
Yeah, they would.
But yeah, he's way into it. So
nice.
It's funny because he's like, "Okay, Dad, now you do this," and I'm like, "Yes, son, I can see the instructions."
I have a nephew up in Portland. My dad went out there to visit my brother and his family, and my nephew had saved up money over several birthdays and Christmases in order to buy the Star Destroyer Lego set, and he got like the last one in Portland. They've searched all over the city in order to find the dumb thing because it was on sale because they stopped making it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got it dirt cheap and got home, and Grandpa was there, and he wanted Grandpa to help, and so Grandpa starts helping, and like as Grandpa is handing him pieces and looking for the next one and trying to put pieces on things, my nephew, his name is Houston, is like jumping 5 steps ahead and saying, "Oh, we need this one next. Oh, we need that one. And oh, I'm going to put this here. Well, you're finding that one, so I'm just going to go ahead and why don't you just flip the pages for me?" And it gets to the point where Grandpa is basically just sitting there watching him do everything because he wants to do it himself when he asked Grandpa to help him.
Yep. Yeah, kids are funny.
Yeah, and Legos are awesome.
Yep. But yeah, I've just been scrambling to get crap done. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I think it'll get better because I've been kind of under time crunch with everything because I've been I was at Podcast Movement, so I was getting caught up, and then I'm trying to get enough done so that things don't fall apart next week while I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
So once that kind of comes back around, I think August will be a whole lot less crazy. We're getting a foreign exchange student in August.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and then I've got a couple of meetings on Saturdays, but other than that, it's not anything like this month.
Nice.
So I should be able to get all these processes handled and get sponsors signed up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. So are you doing anything different with your sponsor, like any kind of anything with your funnel, or you just have so many people contacting you at this point?
So I'm going to reach back out to all of the people that I've talked to before because several of them wanted to do things like sponsoring for job openings, which for a quarter doesn't make a lot of sense, but doing it for like 5 weeks, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to be reaching out to some of them who were saying that it was a little bit too expensive because now this is a cost per 1,000 downloads. So you're basically paying for this number of exposures, and since we're moving to mid-rolls, they should be higher quality exposures. So hopefully I can get some of these folks back on board that backed out because of price before, because the price came down on 2 of the shows and up on 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I can line that up better too. And then
you're selling whole shows though, right? You're not going to sell like 1,000. There's no way to sell partial shows, right?
No, it's on an episode by episode basis.
Okay.
So they have to pay for at least 5, and then they can pick the weeks. So what that means is that some of the sponsors I've talked to, they're like, yeah, we want a 5-week stretch, and some of them are saying, well, we want a 10-week stretch, and we'll do it every other week.
Okay.
And so what that does for them is they feel like they're going to get those exposures over a longer period of time, and it fits in better with whatever publicity campaign they're running or whatever. So marketing campaign. So anyway, that's kind of where things are right now. And so I'm going to re-record them all. So it's like, let's take a minute instead of just saying this episode sponsored by, so that it's less jarring when you go into it in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, Hire.com. Hire.com does this, and I'll come up with 4 or 5 openings that I can use, and then I'll just, And the other thing is I've asked them for stories, and I've asked them for talking points, and I've told them that each sponsorship spot is not going to be a general, this is everything you need to know about Hire.com. Instead, it's going to be, have you run into this problem? Hire.com offers a solution in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week
Yeah,
it'll
that's
be, have you heard about Hire.com? They offer this feature as part of their package in helping you find a job.
Yeah.
And that way, week after week, it's not, oh, I've already heard this. It's, oh, I didn't know that about them, or, oh, I have that problem, and so I need to jump on, and so I can rotate through them. And I feel like that'll also give them a bigger bang for their buck, and it'll make it more engaging for the listener. And so that's a win-win.
Yeah. They're like templated scripts then for the different spots. So you have like 5 or 10 flavors, and you can send them.
I'm just going to
send them like
record them.
Yeah, well, you can send them like a fill in the blanks kind of document too, where it's like.
Oh, that's true.
I
could do that.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that as well, actually, if you wanted to take a swipe at it and share it, because we're going to be using that sort of thing too as well pretty soon.
But then I can just hand it off to whoever's editing the podcasts, and they can just stick it in, and it's just part of the show at that point.
Yep. Nice.
So that works out pretty well. And overall, I think, like I said, I think it'll make it better for the shows. It also, then I don't, because I feel like we start out and we immediately hit them with the sponsorship messages, and the listener just wants to get into the show. So let's just get them into the show. I'm probably going to do a real quick, this episode is sponsored by Sponsor 1 and Sponsor 2 and Sponsor 3, and then just go into the show.
Yep.
And then that way they're kind of primed. They know they're going to hear those spots during the show. But the other thing is I think some people just get on as soon as the spots start. They just skip, and then they're through, and then they listen to the show, and those sponsors don't get their money's worth out of it.
Yep. Yeah. What you need to do is have irregular length spots too in the middle. So
yeah,
it'll be like 17 seconds, and then.
I think the maximum length I'm going to have any of them be is 45 seconds.
Okay.
But because I used to have 4 sponsorships per episode, I'd had the platinum and 3 gold, and now I'm just going to podcast sponsor, and there are only 3 of them per show. So, I felt like, okay, well, I can give a sponsor a little bit more space if their story or point needs it. But I'm going to try and keep them to 30 seconds or less.
Okay, cool.
And really, it's going to be just long enough to make the point and tell people how to get it. So,
nice. Yep.
if it's 15 seconds and effective, perfect. If it needs to be 35 seconds to be effective, then we'll do that.
Do you do any kind of tracking, or like have any kind of URL that you give out, or do anything like that, or is it just like Hire.com?
So I have Pretty Links installed on devchat.tv.
Okay.
And so I've considered setting something up that's like devchat.tv/hired. But I haven't done anything like that. Okay. And Pretty Links doesn't. I need to bug Blair about that. So I had lunch yesterday with the guy that does MemberPress, which is a membership plugin for WordPress, and his company also builds Pretty Links and Pretty Links Pro.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, he's the original developer behind that. So I think I need to complain to him and say, look, I'd really like to do Pretty Links under a directory, and see if I can get him to add that to it.
What do you
have
mean?
Pretty Links for Pro. So if you go to rubyrogues.com, it redirects you to devchat.tv/ruby-rogues.
Okay.
And so what I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to be able to say rubyrogues.com/hired. And then I have a rewrite rule in Nginx that would translate that to devchat.tv/ruby-rogues/hired. And so then I could just hand out rubyrogues.com/hired, and it would just, boom, work. Otherwise, I have to create a rewrite rule for each of those in Nginx.
Oh, I see.
Because I just, I create that in there and then tell it to redirect. And, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, anyway, I had to do that already because the Rails app had that capability. And so I had to create rewrite rules for all of those because I didn't want to go back through the show notes and change them, fix them. So yeah, so if I could do that, that would be nice.
Should be able to now.
Should be able to what now?
To do exactly what you just wanted.
With
PrettyLink.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just put a slash in the URL.
I tried that before and it wouldn't let me.
I think did it. Yeah, I think I've done it as well. That's why I was confused.
Oh, well.
Might be a new.
Maybe I did it wrong, or maybe it's new. I'm sure I've updated it a couple of times since then.
It's slash, not backslash.
Let's see, pretty links.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've used. Because I was researching how to use Pretty Links to do affiliate tracking, because I'd like to potentially do some reporting, Google Analytics reporting on clicks to affiliate links, and that's one of the things they recommend is that you use a consistent, some kind of consistent subdirectory for your affiliate stuff.
Yeah, so I just put in a pretty link of foo/2ff5, and it created the link just fine. So you would have to manually type in /Ruby or Ruby-rogues / whatever, but I mean that should work.
Well, bam.
That slug is already taken.
Oh, yep. No, I just got that same thing when I tried to type in /series, because I have a series subdirectory on WordPress already. All right, so yeah, it's not going to work, right? Damn.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't you if you pick a slug that's not taken, you just have to come up with some other.
That creates a problem because existing links out there to rubyrogues.com / whatever are already being redirected to the new URL.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll bug Blair and see if there's some way that he can add that in. It may not be worth it to him to do though, so I don't know.
May not be possible either. Depends on how WordPress works.
Yeah. But anyway, so
you can do rubyrogues.com /l/foo, but that gets annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I was kind of hoping that would work, but it doesn't. So yeah, and that reminds me, the other thing that I'm doing is I'm going to move my stats tracking over to Blubrry, because Keen.io is, I think it costs me $125 a month or $250 a month, and Blubrry's $5 per podcast per month, and a lot of the advertisers out there accept Blubrry as an accepted stats tracking system. I haven't had any pushback yet. How are you tracking this? But if I send them something that came off of Blubrry, then they're, as I get some of the bigger players out there. But the other thing is it'll save me about $100 a month, plus I won't have to maintain this Sinatra app that I have that currently does all the tracking.
Yeah.
Because I've had to tweak it a few times, and I've had a few issues with Mandy figuring out exactly how she's supposed to use it. So this way it just works. And I think what I'm going to do there is I'm actually just going to go into the Nginx setup that points to that Sinatra app, and I'm going to create rewrite rules for one show at a time and move them over to Blubrry one show at a time. And that way I don't have to go and change all the URLs for all of the media. It just hits media.devchat.tv / whatever, and then it just sends it to the right place so that it redirects through Blubrry and Podtrack.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, otherwise I'd have to have somebody go through and actually change every entry of every episode, and just But and one other thing that I figured out, I was talking to Blair, and he said that MemberPress works with PodPress. So for Rails clips, I can actually set up the membership for Rails clips, and then since it works with PodPress, it'll restrict you can basically create restricted RSS feeds with it. So if they have a Rails Clips membership, then they can get the RSS feed that has all of the episodes in it instead of just the free ones.
Do people really use the RSS feed?
Yeah. Yeah, so for like Ruby Tapas and Elixir Sips and some of these others, I know a lot of people that use the RSS feed. And what they do is they actually just they put it into their podcast app, and then it uses HTTP basic authentication.
Mm-hmm.
So you just put your username and password in there, and then it authenticates you to the system, and then gets you the RSS feed. And it just remembers the credentials after that, so it can fill it in every time you tell it to check for updates. And that's how people find out that there's a new video is, you get the email from Avdi that says there's a new Ruby Tapas, but by then it's already on my phone, and so I can just watch it there. And it's a pretty darn convenient way to get the content.
Because I had maybe a handful of people ask me for that 2 years ago, but nobody's asked since.
Yeah, I think it depends on your audience. I mean, I guess you can ask if people want it, but if a lot of people say they want it, you have to be prepared to deliver it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and that's part of the problem is I couldn't get it to work. There were a lot of... One of the things that I needed to do in order to make it work was get my media service in place, which I have now, but there's still a lot of work left to do to actually make it work.
Interesting. Yeah, you just set the option in PowerPress.
Yeah.
And you tell it that this is a subscription-only media. And then when it creates the RSS feed, it just leaves those out.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you use the special RSS URL, then it prompts you for your username and password, and then you get them all instead of the free ones. And that's just a tight integration between PowerPress and MemberPress.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually in expense cutting mode as well. I figured I think I'm gonna cut Edgar.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, Edgar.
Yeah. So I realized that basically the only thing I'm really using it for, well, I have it running for Joshua Earl, my Twitter account, and then for Sublime Text Tips, and I'm just gonna, since I basically merged Sublime Text Tips with Simple Programmer.
Right.
I'm gonna just have my my eager helper Aaron transfer all the content over to the Simple Programmer account, and then we'll just run it from there. So, and then like for my account, I went back in and I looked at my actual analytics. And it's so pathetic. I mean, Twitter has just completely trashed your reach. Like, I get 1 or 2 interactions on average for my tweets. So I'm like, seriously, why? So all I'm gonna do is I'm already writing an email every single day that gets posted on my blog. So I'm just gonna set up an if this then that rule to live tweet those when they come out, and then like. I mean, that's really all the benefit I was getting out of Edgar for my account. So it's just not worth it anymore. Like now that they've cut organic reach down like that, and it really doesn't matter. Like I wrote an email about this week. Like it doesn't really matter. Like all these platforms say, oh, you write really good content and you get all this free exposure because we're using our magic algorithms to give you more exposure when you write good stuff. Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like I've had tweets where I get like insane engagement rates of like 2 or 3%, and they get no more. I don't get any more people seeing them than on my tweets where no one clicks on them. So it's pretty much like they've just shove you in the corner and nobody sees you anymore. So oh well. But yeah, it's definitely that'll be like $600 a year that I'll save if I drop that.
Nice.
And I also canceled my Calendly account premium I was paying for the $10 a month because I had for a while there I had like with my coaching I had a lot of meetings and I realized that I've basically cleared off my schedule now to the point where I have at most like 1 or 2 meetings a week, and so it's not. I don't need that. I don't need to have multiple calendars anymore. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, that'll be nice.
I'm keeping both of those around because I have somewhere in the ballpark of 900 podcast episodes that I have in that queue that it spits them out on my Twitter account periodically.
Yeah.
It's also nice for automating leading up to conferences, and then the Calendly is getting people lined up to be on the schedule and stuff. So yeah, your situation. Yeah, if you're not. If you don't have stuff where you're going to take advantage of the features, then yeah.
Well, you should. I would encourage you, if you're mainly using it for Twitter, go into your analytics and actually look and see if you're actually getting any interaction on those tweets.
I get some. I do get some because I get people retweeting and tweeting back at me.
Yeah, I get quite a bit of interaction out of it still.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then if you are, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had a few people. I tweeted like. I think it was last week I tweeted episode 12 of JavaScript Jabber, which was like 4 years ago, and I had like 3 people tweet back at me, I listened to this, it was so great.
Yeah.
I actually wonder if Twitter is, I've actually wondered if Twitter hasn't punished bigger accounts more with this, because like we saw I've seen a huge drop off in interactions across my account, Sublime Text Tips, and the Simple Programmer account. Like if you look at it, it's like it falls off a table in February. It's less than a quarter. I mean, I'm not saying you guys are getting. Yeah. So if you're, Chuck, how many followers do you have?
About 24,000.
24. Okay, that's bigger than what I've got. So there goes that theory.
I've got about 7,700.
Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, I definitely seem to get more exposure. The tweets that I'm like, if I just randomly tweet something and it doesn't have a link, I think they suppress links in particular.
If there's no card attached to it, yes. But I've got DerickBailey.com and Watch Me Code both set up with the official Twitter WordPress plugin. Right. So anytime I tweet a link from any of my sites, Twitter will grab the preview card and display that for me. Ooh. So if they are downgrading your status because of links, then install that plugin so that you can get cards, and they will probably prefer you again.
Oh,
interesting.
I need to try that.
What's the plugin called?
It's called it's the official Twitter plugin for WordPress.
All right, let me check that out.
You'll have to do a couple of things. If you go to cards.twitter.com, and what you have to do is install that plugin, enable it, and then go to cards.twitter.com and paste in the URL for one of your blog posts into the verify thing, because they will not post any cards from your site until you go through that verification step.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So, but once you do that, I used to manually post all of my blog posts into Edgar, and it was annoying the crap out of me. And I did that because I wanted to put my images in there.
Right.
But now that I have that Twitter Cards plugin enabled, I've got Edgar pulling directly out of my RSS feed because it's creating the card for me.
Oh, that's cool. What would you mind popping into your analytics? You know how to do that?
Sure.
I'd like to see. I'd like to hear what some of your average interactions are, just to see if that's worth messing with. Because mine are like pretty low.
Let's see. What do we want? Tweet impressions?
Tweet activity.
Where is that at?
I mean,
Tweets.
like,
Okay.
what's your engagement rate?
So
overall,
I'm getting 10.5K impressions per day. My engagement rate is about 1.1% average.
Okay.
Link clicks is 1.2K over the last 30 days.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I've gotten.
Wait, how do you get
43. Go to analytics.twitter.com.
Oh, I use ads.twitter.com, but yeah.
Everything used to be done through ads, but they're splitting things apart into multiple sub URLs, so
that makes sense.
So that you have to look in more than one place. I mean...
Well, so that you can get better information. I mean, it is annoying to go to more than one place, but you get more detail.
Okay, here's a good example, all right? So I tweeted the thought process behind Drip's new $1 plan, how we just lost $1 million, plus the hardest product decision we've ever made, the lead pages thing they did a couple days ago. All right, engagements, 28. Engagement rate, 4.9%, right? Impressions, 572. I have 17,000 or 18,000 followers.
Yeah. And
so my average engagement rate is like 0.2%, and I'll get like 400, 350, 300, and then that one post that got insanely high engagement got 572 impressions. Like that's ridiculous. Like I used to get a minimum of like 2,000 to 2,500 impressions on every single tweet.
Yeah, and mine has certainly gone down since they changed things. One thing that they use as part of their algorithm is whether or not other people are engaging with it. So if I post just some random tweet,
well, that's what I'm saying.
It may take half an hour before I see any engagements on it, even though it's been sitting out there. But as soon as somebody likes it, clicks it, retweets it or whatever, then my impressions and my engagements will skyrocket.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. So that post that I got, I posted that got 28 engagements and a 4.9% engagement rate, that's might be the highest engagement rate I've ever seen, and it got virtually no extra exposure from that. Probably the only reason it got extra impressions is because some people retweeted it. So they're basically not. They're claiming that they're boosting. That they boost the stuff that people like, but I've not seen any evidence of that at all.
Yeah.
It's very strange. I don't know. I mean, it's here's one that got a 2.1% engagement rate and only went to 432 people.
Where are you seeing the engagement rate? I'm not seeing.
It's in the columns, the big column of tweets. So
you got to scroll down.
Remember that engagement rate is based on the impressions as well. So it's
but if
you have a very low impression and a high engagement rate, it doesn't matter so much because
but see, the point is, the whole point of having an algorithm is that when people interact with it, they show it to more people. I've got 18,000 people that are following me. The reason that people aren't seeing stuff is because Twitter is suppressing it, not because I don't have people that are like logged on to Twitter and there to see the tweets, because I used to get 2,000 to 3,000 impressions when it was more of a real-time feed. So
when did those changes go into effect?
In February.
February.
Yeah, they're supposed to. The idea, the theory is that they are that they're supposed to be rewarding you for posting stuff that people like by giving you more exposure. And that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen any evidence that high engagement rates on, and Medium's the same way. I've been experimenting with that, and I don't get any. You don't get any boost really worth writing home about based on who's reading. Oh, here's one. I got 685 impressions with one interaction. Like
maybe it's your content, man, because I'm looking at the last year in Twitter analytics, and there is a small drop for me, but it's nothing significant.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. It could also be industry based, like that. They're like, okay, this guy's clearly in marketing, so
could be
marketing's oversaturated, so we just make it harder. I don't know, but I mean, I get a lot of. I don't know. I do get people replying and stuff, and there's a lot, like a good number of my tweets do get a pretty good interaction rate, but it's just the impressions don't ever increase to match. So I don't know. For me at least, they've killed it, and it's definitely impacted Sublime Text Tips and Simple Programmer too. So I don't know what their criteria is, but yeah. So Edgar's probably not useful for me anymore.
Interesting. It's funny because looking at the engagement on my tweets, the ones that get the most engagement are typically when I'm doing the Twitter chat with Code Newbie.
Yeah.
So if I tweet something especially that has a link in it, I mean, I get like 2% or 3% engagement on those. The talks or the more popular podcast episodes, they get up into the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are, they're 0.1, 0.2%. My overall engagement's about 0.6%.
Oh, okay. That's actually lower than mine. Mine's 0.7 overall.
Yeah, but I tweet a lot of past episodes and things like that don't get as much engagement. If it's a new episode, I tend to get a lot more love for those.
Mm.
Or if I really just, I put a hashtag on it that really gets it targeted well.
Yeah, that is one thing I could do is hashtags. I don't have many hashtags in mine, but the ones that doesn't seem to really help all that much. So I don't know.
Maybe it has to do with the rest of the way your Twitter account works as well. Like if all, similar to how Facebook prioritizes posts that come from directly in the Facebook app, Twitter might be seeing you posting from automation systems all the time and just lower your overall impressions because you're not using Twitter, you're just automating.
Maybe, but I use TweetDeck and I use the Twitter app on my phone, and are you
tweeting or just reading things? Because I'm tweeting
interacting
24/7.
New
content, new ideas, random thoughts, talking with people.
I reply to people. I don't really tweet a lot of news. I tweeted today. I favorited a few tweets. I retweeted something. I replied to someone, and I posted a blog post yesterday.
That's an average hour for me is doing all that.
Yeah, so maybe that is
that may help. Twitter may be prioritizing people that are active on.
They're active. Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely have noticed there have been times when I did a Josh Pigford style stream of consciousness thing where it was like 6 or 7 tweets in a row, and I have noticed that those tend to get a lot of impressions out of those. But I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's not really a high priority for me. So
yeah.
But
yeah, if it's not where you're at already, if it's not something that you're already doing a lot and it's not working for you, just kill it.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire.
I could probably get as much, so I could get more mileage out of just the free, having a free RSS thing that retweets my blog posts and then using it like you do manually versus Edgar. Because clearly Edgar's not getting me anything at all. So if anything, it's hurting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we had a win yesterday. Looks like I locked down a sponsor for Simple Programmer. So
yay!
I'm not going to announce it yet because we haven't gotten the check in hand. But it's a 30-day trial we're going to do. So I put together. They basically wanted a custom. They didn't like the packages that we'd put together originally, so they wanted a custom one. So I spent better part of Wednesday researching pricing and getting them pricing on that, and then they're biting. So it'll be nice. So it's like a 6K. It actually puts us very close to milestone 1. So I'm getting excited. Yeah, so milestone 1 will probably still take me the better part of the rest of the year to hit because it's a rolling average, but we got to get the site as a whole to like 26K, and then we'll be there. But yeah, man, I was excited about that. So I think we're gonna do a 30-day trial. Basically, I priced out what they wanted, and the content that we have, like the traffic that we have, is actually like pretty legitimately worth about 12 grand. So I gave them like a 30-day trial at a 50% discount, which seems to be standard from what I've seen with a lot of advertisers, and then we're gonna renegotiate after that, and I'll probably end up getting. I think I'll probably get a somewhere between 6 and 10K a month deal set up here if it goes well.
Nice. That's effectively what my 5-week minimum buy sponsorship is 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then if it works out for folks, then then they'll sign up for more.
Sweet. Yeah, it was really. This week has been good. I basically realized there's been some things that I have just been absolutely dreading. Like I've been working on taking all of the broadcast emails that went out for Sublime Text Tips over the last 2 years and pulling them into Drip into a campaign, so they're like, I don't ever have to think about sending emails for that again. Like it just goes on autopilot. And I've been doing one a week just to keep a stream of them going, and I've been absolutely dreading it every week for some reason. And then I realized, oh wait, I'm just gonna have Aaron do it. So he's queued up. He's already queued up 10 of these things, and then he's going through and he's gonna pull like this. We'll have like probably at least 30 or 40 of them by the time he's done, and I don't have to do any of it. So I just recorded a quick screen video about how to do it and handed it off to him. And
delegation's so great.
Delegation is amazing. Oh my god.
I love it.
Yeah, and so I was like, I did that, and then I also am going to have him go through, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I've been wanting to clean up. We have all these campaigns in Drip for Simple Programmer, and John was like really inconsistent with how he used the UTM parameters and all that stuff in the earlier campaigns, and I've been wanting to go through and clean all that up. And then we're also retiring the Dev Career Boost website, so I wanted to repoint everything to Simple Programmer. And I've had this on my list for a while to do, and it's like super tedious because you have to go through just go into view source on all the emails and like edit all the URLs and everything. I was like, guess what, Aaron? Got a job for you. So yeah, and then he went through, we had like 70 or 80 blog posts that had embedded code in them that was using this WordPress plugin, and the WordPress plugin was basically taking down Simple Programmer pretty regularly. So I don't know what was wrong with it, but it was like taking the site offline. So I just had Aaron go through, and he put together a spreadsheet and cranked through all like 80 of them and did a fantastic job. So yeah, so delegating is where it's at. I've been able to just like hand stuff off and then spend the after. So I do my writing on my product and my emails in the morning, and then like around 10:30 or 11 I'll wrap that up, and then I will shift into like admin mode, queue up some tasks to outsource, and then by like 1 o'clock I'm back, heads down, and I'm able to write through the afternoon. So I had a couple of days where the one day I wrote 3,000 words, and then I had another day where I wrote 2,500. So I was able to be pretty productive while people were cranking away on other stuff. That is the way to do it. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else this week that I wanted to talk about. I'm still. This product thing is a real struggle. I hate. I realized that I think a big part of my problem is I'm very. So one of the things this kind of came out of my Colby test that I was talking about the other week, and I like to build things that last. Like that was one of the most frustrating things for me about iOS development, was when I would spend a week on getting something working, and then Apple would make a change, and it was like they just threw that week of my life away. And so with my product, I feel like the thing I've been struggling with is like my system for how I'm going to teach people to do this, and I'm still working through that, and so it's hard for me to. It's been like pulling my nails out to actually try to write it, because I feel like I don't have the system nailed down 100% yet, and that's where it's just been hard. But I've committed to. I'm going to make a public announcement about the launch date to really pull my feet to the fire, and it's going to be end of August basically. So I'm going to get it done one way or the other, but I think it's going to take some. I've been making good progress on it, but I think it's going to require some serious deadline pressure to get me to actually finish it.
Yeah, I've been running into some of the same resistance just getting the coder job stuff done, and I've considered actually like taking a week and not being home.
Yeah.
Just making that the sole focus for the week, and just because if I can get it like 80% the way done, even at some kind of getaway retreat or whatever, then I can come home and finish it. Because then it's not this huge massive resistance. It's, well, just get the last couple chapters done.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I can't figure out. So I don't have a problem working on it, but I'm just not making as much progress as I need to be making.
Yeah.
So it's less like I don't have a lot of resistance to starting working on it every day. It's just I feel like my working time ends up being not as efficient as it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, the resistance for me is two things. One is sometimes getting started, but most of the time it's maintaining focus for long enough to really get some good progress on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my biggest problem is that I have a pretty decent outline for it, but it's really easy for me to. I guess I'm still having a hard time figuring out like what's essential and what's not, and so it's really easy for me to spend a whole day, write 1,000 words, and really not make any progress because I just end up cutting that away. So it's kind of like I'm kind of having to shape it as I go along, and so there's like a lot of wasted effort when you do that.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you one thing that I did that helped was that I gave a talk on part of what I'm writing in my book at Newbie Remote Conf. And so, yeah, now I have this really nice outline with images and everything.
Yeah, from your slides.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just spitballing here. I mean, I don't know what will stick or what will work for you, but.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna commit to a public launch date though, because I get pretty much like 3 or 4 times a week I get somebody asking about it at this point. So.
I've done that before though, and then I miss it, and then I miss the next one. And so I'm real good at missing them.
Yeah, I typically have been good about that. So I think if I commit to it, I think I will be able to hit it.
Oh, there you go then.
Otherwise I probably wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, see, I don't announce dates anymore. People might get a vague, I'm hoping to during the fall of, that's about it.
Yeah, I've had. I mean, for me, with my experience with my copywriting projects was always like if I told somebody that I was going to get it to them by such and such a date, I could do it. Otherwise, it would drag on. So, setting fake deadlines for myself does not work. A lot of people a lot of people are able to do that and like hack the psychology of that, and it does not work for me. It's like. If it's not a deadline that I've committed to someone else to, it doesn't exist.
Yep, absolutely. I'm the same way. I make commitments to myself and then I fail. What about you, Derick?
Well, which part of this dumpster fire do you want to hear about?
Are you talking about the odor or the overwhelming heat?
Yes.
Where would you like to start, Derick?
Well, I was going to make a snarky comment about how you probably don't want to use all the work we did as your case study anymore.
Well, I don't see. I don't buy that, but I would like to see how. I'm waiting to see how it turns out. So.
But that's ultimately the source of all of my frustrations this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent 2 months working on this thing, and I'm logging in Drip now to see that I have 87 people on that email course. That was with several tweets about the relaunch of it, 2 emails to my mailing list, to people on my mailing list that had not gone through it previously. And we're going to be relaunching to my full mailing list on Tuesday. But, I mean, that's going to be people that have already seen the email at least once and people that have already gone through the course. So I don't expect there to be a huge bump in subscribers from the email on Tuesday. The relaunch on Tuesday. It's going to be a blog post basically, and the goal is for the blog post to get new traffic into things,
right,
through Twitter and everything else. I have little to no confidence in that post having a huge impact, but I'm in a wait and see mode at the moment.
All right, so basically, so we've got a couple of pieces here, right? The fact that none of the work that you've done on this has in any way been really tested at all. So you don't have any results from it at this point. So don't feel like you threw all that away, because we just haven't gotten any people to go through it. And you were able to get people to go through it in the past. So
Yes.
So the promotion is like a separate issue from the actual course itself and whether the course itself will work.
I've done more promotion for this in the last week than I have for the previous version.
Well, what did you do? Previously, you were doing...
Previously, I literally just said, hey, I've got this thing, and I got like 600 people signed up for it. And now I've gone through this whole process of, oh, well, let's write this great story, and let's get this automation, and let's do all these things. And
Where did you announce it?
To my mailing list.
The first time?
Yeah.
What if you go back and look at the email that you sent and rerun that email?
Yeah.
It just as if you're going to redo it to your whole list, there's no harm. Maybe that email itself worked particularly well for some reason.
Yeah, maybe it did. I mean, it was literally just, I've got this thing, go click here and sign up for it.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier in some of the emails that I was writing was like, the emails when I promote these to our list is like it's pretty straightforward. Like it's pretty, they're short, they're really short, and it's really just like a couple paragraphs and then a link. And I think that if you'd done that, you probably would have gotten a 5 or 6% click-through rate on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what you did previously, and you got all that,
I don't even know if I have that email available anymore.
It was probably in MailChimp. If you haven't deleted your account completely, it will probably still be in MailChimp.
Well, and you may also be able to go on, a JavaScript podcast that reaches 35,000 people every episode and see if you want to talk about this in JavaScript, and then at the end of the show tell them to go sign up for the email course and see what that does for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, all I'm saying is that don't feel like you threw away, you don't know yet. It's possible you threw away all that time working on that. But you actually don't know that. All you know right now is that you're having some trouble getting people onto it, which is a separate problem, right? I mean...
Yeah.
So like, if if you're able to get people, that's why I suggested the pop-up. Like if you're able to get,
I've got a pop-up running.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 people come in through it.
Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. Just want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors for this episode of EntreProgrammers, DigitalOcean. So I've talked about DigitalOcean a lot before on the show, and that's because they're just such an awesome company. I use them to host all of my websites, basically simpleprogrammer.com, which gets around 200,000 page views a month, runs on there, super smooth. Get Up and Code runs on there. The EntreProgrammers podcast that you're listening to right now, we use DigitalOcean for that. I use it for just about everything, and it's such a good deal. You know, as far as hosting goes, right, if you're going to run your own Linux server and do your own web hosting at $5 a month, which is the starting plan for DigitalOcean, you just really can't beat that. It's crazy. And when you do need something super powerful, DigitalOcean comes through for you as well, and it's so easy to scale up to that. I started out on Simple Programmer with the $10 a month box, and I was even able with that to get 100,000 page views a month without much of a problem. But when I wanted to scale up, all I had to do was bring the server down, expand the size, go up to the higher size droplet, and bam, I was up there, and I've expanded it a couple of times since then. So DigitalOcean, definitely awesome company. I would definitely recommend that you check it out if you have any idea of creating a website online, or you want to have your own Linux server to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, some development or put out a production app. There's a ton of great things that you can do with DigitalOcean. Go to DigitalOcean.com and use the code EntreProgrammers to get $10 credit. So DigitalOcean.com, EntreProgrammers is your code, and you get $10 credit, good for basically 2 months at a $5 box, so you can check it out.
So it's interesting.
I'm sure this. It's got to be frustrating, right? You put in all this work, and then Josh's answer is, "Well, now you need to do this other work."
Yeah, it's.
Well, no. Yeah, I'm not trying to say.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say.
2 months of work so that I can have something, so that I can spend 2 months of work to make people know about that thing.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that you should put in a huge promotional effort on this. I definitely don't think it's worth doing a big 2 month long, content marketing push at this point.
Yeah, but I think there are probably a few places you can go where you can get the kind of exposure you need to actually get people onto it.
So I guess what I'm saying is that from the front end of this, nothing has changed all that much. Like if this course was a store and you were driving by it, like the appearance of the store hasn't really changed all that much. So the interior of the store has changed a lot, but why are people not walking through the door? Like that's a separate question from whether they'll buy once they're inside. And it seems like something has changed, because if you were able to just tweet it out a couple times and get 600 people last time, the name of the course hasn't changed. Really, there hasn't been that much that's changed about it. So why are people not jumping on it now? And I don't have a great answer for that.
Yeah, me either.
You did spend a lot of money on Twitter ads,
and those were all useless. That got me very little.
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting that you should do that again. But I'm wondering if that is tainting your memory of how you promoted this in the past.
No, those Twitter ads were a failure. My memory of those Twitter ads is don't do it again because it wasn't worth it. It didn't get me anything.
You
my
got
launch,
some didn't you?
I got a few.
Okay.
But hardly any. My launch, the first time for the first version of this, was an email to my mailing list, which only had like 1,500 people on it, and about a third of them signed up.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to consider is that now your email list you're a lot more active on your email list.
Yeah.
So that means when you are sending out more emails, what happens is fewer people read each email.
Mm-hmm.
More people read your emails overall over the course of a week, but fewer people read. So 2 emails now to your list might equal 1 email previously.
Right, and I did the whole resend to people that didn't open,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a total, a rather large total number of people opening the emails. I'm opening both of these broadcasts. So 1,100, about 1,100 people opened the launch email for this, but only
So like a third.
only 82 of them clicked.
Right.
Which tells me the email sucked.
Well, you got close to a 2% click rate, right?
1.7, 1.9.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, not even 1.6. So 1.7 on the first and 0.6 on the resend.
Okay, but what's the? Yeah, we'd have to do the math on the total. I think that's probably close to 2%. What was like 3,700? What's 82? Whoops.
It's
82.
2.9% total.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. It's not a home run, but it's not bad, honestly. Like if you were to get 10% of the people to go through this again, that would be pretty good. So I mean, I guess at this point, I would say all that you should do on this would be make sure that you're try to get some people to go through it with the pop-up, and make sure that you're still tweeting it out, and then possibly consider doing a couple like 3 emails total where you're promoting it. So when I do those promotion sequences, they're 3 emails on consecutive days, and they are real short, and it's just like a link.
Mm-hmm.
Click here and it's like just teaser. It's basically just teaser copy. I honestly think they took me about 20 minutes total to do all 3 of them because I was pretty much just taking little chunks of the email series. But yeah, if you're not getting with your what's going on with the pop-up? Like
ask that question a different way.
How many times is it showing a day? What's the conversion rate on it? What post is it showing on?
It's showing on anything related to the JavaScript this keyword. I've had it running for 3 days now. It's had 244 impressions and 2 conversions.
Okay, I would broaden that up. I would make that your default fall-through pop-up for like your entire site, except for the ones that you have that are really targeted, and just try to get a bunch of impressions on that. And then, I mean, if you can get that's pretty low effort, right? It's just show it to everyone for a week.
Yeah.
And you're getting roughly 1,000 people a day or 800 people a day on your site, I think. So you should be able to get a handful of people, probably 5 to 10 signups a day, maybe, if you did that. And then over a month, that would give you enough of an idea of whether the whole course as a whole works.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't, but we just don't know that yet. So I mean, when I launch these, I don't launch these to our lists. Typically, what I do is I stick up a pop-up and collect some people and see what happens. And then we did that in February when we were at Traffic and Conversion. I just threw up the 5 learning mistakes pop-up for a little while, and because John was really nervous about siphoning off money from the blogging course, because that does pretty well for us. But yeah, so I don't think you should spend really a lot more time and effort on this until you just let it run for a little while.
Okay.
I think what you're going to find is that it converts at probably like 1 to 2% overall, and the weak spot's going to probably be your sales page. So, and then if that's, if you're getting reasonably good clicks, then you know that you need to work on your sales page.
All right, well, it's now the default for all blog posts.
Okay, cool. So, do something else for a month.
I don't have anything else to do. I really don't. I mean, other than moving on to the next bundle and reworking the email course and pitch automation for that. But what's the value in doing that when I have no idea if this formula works for me?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I've got a marketing guy who has his monthly retainer for, now through the middle of August, and I'm going to tell him to do nothing? Because the next thing we have to work on is more marketing automation. I mean, I could redirect him on to analyzing the Watch Me Code homepage, trying to build avatars for the site as a whole, but I don't know.
I got a question, because you mentioned in your email to us that you have the YouTube videos and you have a lot of these other avenues that you're working on that you don't want to back out of. What happens when people watch those videos? I mean, are you directing them back to a landing page of some kind, or
through the comments? Yes. I typically have the Watch Me Code link as the first piece of text in the description of the video. But the majority of those are linking to other videos in order to get people. It's the whole YouTube strategy of keep people on your YouTube channel.
Right.
And at some point, I have a lot of screencasts as well as the just talking head videos, and the screencasts all link back to Watch Me Code. Most of the newer videos link back to Watch Me Code at the very end as well. I have the Watch Me Code logo showing up, and that'll have a link to the Watch Me Code site.
Yeah, it just occurs to me that you may want to, if you have this email course or some other freebie that you're giving away, you could set up a landing page and send them to that to get that, and then put them through a marketing sequence for Watch Me Code instead of sending them directly to Watch Me Code.
Well, the eventual goal is something like that, but that's a lot of analysis and work to design the right landing page and everything else, which is what we want to get to. That's not a quick win, is what I'm trying to say. That is not something that's going to fix my cash flow problem right now.
Yeah, but the thing that the thing that strikes me is that, I mean, how many people go through your YouTube channel and then come in and buy Watch Me Code?
0.
So, why not throw something out there that just has an email sign-up form on it that says just real quick, hey, we've got this great course that will help clear the air on what this means in JavaScript and, make your scoping problems go away. And then, so it doesn't have to be a real fancy one with a lot of copy on it that is highly targeted. You're not getting anything from the traffic that goes to Watch Me Code anyway, so why not send them to this instead, and then just have a call out somewhere in the video that says, hey, we have an email course on JavaScript, go check it out. And so you spend a half hour putting the landing page together and see if you can get people onto the list that way.
Yeah.
I mean, just as an experiment, just to see if you can get that many more people to go through the course, and then you can start to really analyze, okay, they're dropping off at email 3, or people seem to really like this and this and this, but the sales pitch into Watch Me Code or into whatever else you're trying to get them to do isn't quite working out. You can start to fiddle with that. But I agree with Josh to the extent that the more people you put through the JavaScript this course, the more you're really going to understand whether or not the work you've done is going to pay off for you or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, if it were me, I probably wouldn't want to invest more time into getting traffic into that at this point, and just because you've got enough traffic where if you just let it run for a little while, you're going to have enough people that go through it to where you'll see whether it's working. So
what do I do to fix my real problem, though, of not having any cash flow? Not having any new subscribers this month and having a dwindling subscriber base on my old pricing plans.
So when did you make the switch again?
May 1st.
May 1st. how does your because you mentioned that your revenues dropped from 5K to 3K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said was that in the last 6 months that's happened?
In the last 2 months.
In the last 2 months, so you've lost 2,000.
Yeah, I've lost 1,000 a month for the last 2 months.
So, how many subscribers were you getting a month previously?
Average of about 30.
30.
Mm-hmm.
And how many? And then you were losing.
Losing. It depends on what time period you were looking at. There were some months where, okay, I had just gone through a giant push, and there were a whole bunch of impulse buys from that giant push, so I would lose 40 or 50. But on average, I was staying roughly even with the overall. I was dropping about 5 to 10 more than I was gaining.
Right. So my one thing about this is like changing. Yeah. So you basically all of your growth in the past has come from big pushes.
Most of it has.
Yeah, almost all of it. So how can you do a big push with your current pricing model to get more people in?
I have no idea. That's the whole marketing problem that I'm trying to solve right now.
I mean, okay, like you did them before, so how can we adapt what you did before to the new pricing model to get you a big push and get you an influx of new people? So
what I did before, the last time I did a push was, it's my birthday, here's a discount.
Right. Well, I mean, if you need cash right now, you could do a discount offer. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an option that's on the table. I mean, that's pretty much how.
One of the problems that. Sorry, I'm trying to formulate 1,000 different thoughts in my head, and they're not coming out coherently. Yes, I could do that. It would be more work than I want right now, but I could do it. And I say that because of technical limitations in the platform that I'm using. All of the previous discounts that I've offered for the subscription are permanent discounts.
And you want to do like a...
The system that I have now does not offer one-time discounts for subscriptions.
Right, but I mean, so what? Like, if you get somebody that pays you $197 for a year, that's like pretty good.
Yeah.
Even if they get to renew at $197,
right?
You know, like that's not. I don't think you're gonna cry too much about that.
Right.
So that would be one option. And I mean that might not be a bad. That might not be. You might plan on doing that once a quarter for now, just to get some activity because yeah, I totally agree that like you know two subscribers a month isn't gonna really do anything for you.
No.
But so that would be one thing. Another thing, what about on the email list we were talking about the idea of doing like some kind of trial.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep hearing you've said this before that the technical limitations are a big hurdle, and maybe it's time to figure that out.
That would involve months of effort to move everything to anything new.
Well, I'm not saying move everything, but is there some other way that you could hack this? Like, what about?
I either write custom code or I move to something else. Is what it comes down to. And the code that I write is either on top of the system that I'm currently using, or building my own. And building my own is certainly time and cost prohibitive at this point. I mean, like I said on the mailing list, I could set this up so that I could give somebody a 1 month or a 1 week or whatever length subscription for $10. That's getting that cheap entry point is easy. There is no way for me to automate bumping them into the higher priced plan at the end of that. So it either involves me manually moving them to the higher priced plan, or them manually upgrading.
So let me ask you another question then, because there are systems out there that do this. You know, it's built in. You can actually set up subscription systems that do this work. And you know, you mentioned that it'd take a lot of time and money and effort to switch over to a new plugin, and I totally
Hey
agree.
guys, I gotta go take a call. Sorry, so I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
Now I can ask you my hard questions, I guess.
Go for it.
I feel bad because I really want to kind of push back on some of the stuff here for Derick, but yeah, I did have another thing that I've been thinking about, but I wanted to give Derick a chance to get help. So I've been thinking for a while that I've been thinking about getting devchat.tv redesigned.
Okay.
And part of me is like, that is a ton of work with a very uncertain payoff. But the flip side is that essentially what happened was the developer that I hired to do that, he just pulled all of the CSS and JavaScript that had been compiled by Rails, and he just jammed it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then pulled the HTML layout and fiddled with it until it did what he needed it to do. And so it feels kind of slapped together. I mean, it works, and it works fine. But the other thing is that I think I could probably get people to engage better if the design were set up to optimize people getting on the mailing lists and getting whatever it is that they're coming and looking for, which when I ask people what they come to the website for, like 75% of the people that I talk to, they're all coming to get links for pics.
Right.
So what I'm looking at is, okay, well, do I make it easy for them to get to the pics? Do I add some features where the player's always visible, or where the email form's always visible, or things like that, and possibly make some of the marketing and engagement easier on the website.
Right.
Because currently the big space at the top, I think they call it a hero space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hero image.
It takes up a lot of space above the fold.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, I could probably redesign it so that it, then they can get the show notes and, they engage and maybe stick around a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Link to related episodes, what have you. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. And I'm not sure I really want to pour the amount of money into it that I think it's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd love to get your take on it.
What's the business goal of doing this? I mean, how do you know that this was worth your time and effort and money?
That's a good question. I mean, part of it is that I'd like to get it to the point where it gets more people on the mailing list. I would also like the way that it's currently set up. It makes it kind of hard to build pages for products and things like that because
right.
the page assumes you have a huge hero image.
Okay.
And so it would do things easier for those kinds of things. But at the same time, you can also you can create sort of, I don't know what to call them, but they're like sub-layouts or alternate layouts that you can use for specific pages.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, well, I'll just, within the current design, I'll just have somebody clean it up so that, I can build a landing page on it instead, but I don't know.
Yeah, so one real quick on the landing pages thing, you can actually use Thrive. Like if you want to do product pages, you can use Thrive to build that, and then you can kind of like mock up the top part, like the navigation or whatever in Thrive, and like recreate it, and then you can delete the hero. That's probably what I would do anyway, honestly. Like, rather than trying to use the built-in WordPress page templates, because those are so confining. I would if you're gonna do product pages, I would just build them in Thrive, honestly.
Yeah, I've been using the Thrive landing pages, and yeah, I need to tweak them so that they are what I want them to be.
Yeah, but you can do that once, and then you've got.
Yeah, then I have a template.
Yeah, you got the template. So I would definitely do that. But yeah, I mean, if I would definitely spend some time to figure out like exactly what. So, I mean, sometimes sometimes you just want the thing to look nicer because it makes you feel better as a person.
Yeah, and I've been trying to make sure that's not what I'm doing.
I definitely have felt that way about my website a bunch of different times, and I want to get mine redesigned as well pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I would, like, if your main objective is more opt-ins, then then your design needs to reflect that. So you really have to figure out what you want it to do before you dump a bunch of money into having it look better.
That makes sense. Yeah, I need to basically figure out what the main things are that I want people to do, and then how can I make that easier, and does it require a full redesign or not?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Derick's back, it looks like, anyway.
I am.
So Derick, what I was driving at was basically if Restrict Content Pro doesn't give you the features that you need, and there are other systems that will, what other opportunities down the line are you giving up by sticking with it?
Yeah.
And effectively, I think you need to evaluate that and decide what it's going to cost you down the line to stick with it versus what it's going to cost you to move now or move later, and then figure out, okay, maybe it's not the right time to move now, but you're probably going to have to in the future, or maybe it is the right time to move now, or maybe you figure out some easy or not prohibitive way of just sticking with Restrict Content Pro and make it do what you want. But I would look seriously, because it seems like part of this conversation keeps coming back to that. I would look seriously at some of these other systems and see if you can find one that will do what you want, the way that you want, and then figure out, okay, what would it take to migrate, and is it worth actually doing now or not?
I looked at a lot of membership plugins before buying this one, and each of them has something that I want. None of them have everything.
Right.
I would most likely have to move to a full learning management system, which there are learning management systems for WordPress. Mm-hmm. And even then, the pricing models are going to be what kill me. I picked Restrict Content Pro because it has a phenomenal developer API.
Okay.
And I use that. It's got really good restrictions and a really simple way to work with the content restriction side of things as a developer, as well as the core of it through just the basic WordPress admin. And so I've built a great set of features around the RCP API and the restrictions that it allows me to create with their API. The thing that kills me is the lack of flexibility with the pricing model. The thing that kills their lack of flexibility with the pricing model is being required to support Stripe and PayPal and Braintree and Recurly, and so it's the number of payment gateways. They can only code features to the lowest common denominator, which is always PayPal. I don't allow PayPal, but I'm still hamstrung by PayPal because RCP has to support PayPal.
Yeah, I'm going to advocate for a moment just for MemberPress, because I've been using it, and I can do everything that you've said that you want to do with it. It restricts all the content, yes, and it takes Stripe and PayPal and a handful of others.
Does it let me do trial accounts?
Yeah.
Does it let me do one-time discounts on a new account?
Yeah, you can do coupons.
Right, but is that coupon going to be a permanent lifetime discount?
No, you can set up coupons to do different things. I'm not 100% sure on that because I haven't done coupons yet. But I'm pretty sure that you can set it so that it's the first payment's this and the next payments are this.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do a first payment discount, but I'm talking about a one-time discount. Like Restrict Content Pro lets me set up if I'm doing a monthly subscription, I can put in a sign-up fee. And I can either say it'll cost you $50 to sign up plus $10 a month, or I can say, $10 a month, but your first month is free.
Yeah, you can do all of that.
But I can't say, here is a one-time discount code. That is, it doesn't work on discount codes for that. That is the actual plan. The plan has a sign-up fee. It's not a discount code.
I'm not sure if I follow completely, but yeah.
It just take discount codes out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Don't imagine a discount code at all.
Okay.
The pricing plan is $10 a month with a $50 sign-up fee. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So now my sign-up fee is negative $10, which means your first month is free. So they have an actual sign-up fee field inside of the plan. I cannot apply a discount code to the first month only. If I want the first month to be discounted, I have to have a monthly plan with a negative sign-up fee. So it's...
Yeah, I don't know.
It drives me nuts.
I can put you in touch with Blair Williams, who's the developer of MemberPress, and he can tell you how to do that or if you can do that. But it's pretty robust, and I haven't found a way of structuring payment plans that I can't do yet. So, and I'm going to be using MemberPress also for like the one-time purchases that give you access to the landing page that has the download links and everything for everything else that you're going to get.
So one thing, Derick, is I think that you are thinking that the new pricing model is much more of a dumpster fire than it actually is, because your revenue has dropped, but I don't think that is all based on the new pricing model. Based on the number of signups and the number of drop-offs that you used to have typically, I think what's happened is you had a bunch of people, you hit your normal period right around the time that you did your pricing model switch. You had a normal drop-off based on a previous large promotion that you've done. Because like it doesn't make if you were getting, it doesn't make any sense to me that you would lose $2,000 in 2 months if you were getting 30 new people signing up and losing 20. Like there's just not enough. There's not enough money moving there to account for $2,000 worth of drop-off.
Yeah, there is. It's not just the members. It's also the bundle sales.
Oh, okay. So the 5,000 to 3,000 was
included bundle sales.
Including bundle sales. Oh, okay.
Total revenue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why have those dropped off?
I don't know. I haven't changed anything on those.
So that's not a reflection on the new pricing model at all.
But the new pricing model is also rapidly declining. So if I look at the numbers for just the subscriptions,
right?
Where's my custom? So May 2016. What? Oh, sorry. This thing is... Oh, come on. It won't let me set the end date for this filter.
What are you looking in?
I'm looking in the Restrict Content Pro.
Okay.
So basically, it's like 30 people a month would be times 14. Oops, okay. That would be $420 a month, and then minus. So if you were losing 20 people, I mean, this is rough math because you had discounts and stuff in there. I mean, like, that's, oops. That's only, you were basically, on an average month, you were maybe growing by $140 a month in revenue if everything went well. So even if you started losing 100%, if you were losing 20 people a month at $14 a month, that's only $280 a month. So that's So, like, if you stopped selling subscriptions completely, you would be losing $280 a month at this point, based on your normal drop-off. So, if you sell one license, that basically makes up for the drop-off that you were experiencing.
One license compounding each month. So I had to sell 1 the first month, 2 the second, 3 the third, 4 the fourth.
Correct.
Right. And
so
I'm looking at the report right now. It's not giving the report's jacked up for some reason, so I can't get the exact numbers. But I've got a line graph that tells me in May of 2016, my subscriptions only hit $4,000. In June, I was at about 3,800. And for July, for right now, July 22nd, I'm sitting at just under 2,000. It will probably get up to 2,500. Just given the history.
Well, given Josh's math, that's about where.
No, that's way lower. There's something else going on there. That's where I was saying that you're probably just getting a bunch of people dropping off from a big promotion, because there's no way that you lose like $1,000.
Oh,
$1,000.
I only heard the 200.
That's 71 subscribers in 1 month. So that's a big. So there's something else going on there. But Derick, what do you need? I mean, like, how much cash do you need to feel better about this? Like, can we reverse engineer our way? Because there's a ton of options here. I feel like you're just kind of hopeless. And,
a little, yeah.
And I can understand that, because I've definitely been there myself. But like, there's a ton of things that you've done in the past that you could do again that would generate a nice little, shot in the arm for you here.
This month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, you take these things 1 month at a time. If you're freaking out right now, that's better than not doing anything. If you did some kind of discount offer, you could with your main subscriptions, you could probably push a pretty big. Because what you would so like go back when was the last time you did one of those?
My birthday, September.
Okay, September. And do you remember how much you made off of it? Like how many new subscribers?
I take that back. I had a big push in April just before making the pricing change.
Right. So how many subscribers did you pick up? That's probably where your drop-off's coming from.
Probably.
So you lost a whole bunch of people who signed up during that, and those were full price people too, because you didn't discount, right? So like the 2 to 3 month decay that you tend to see is hitting right now, and that's where all that's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then so you've gotten 5 or 6 people that have signed up for the new pricing model. Next year at this time, they're going to renew, and probably 1 or 2 of them will renew.
Mm-hmm.
If not more. So you've got, the problem is you've got this like huge lag between the two, between that and your next renewal, to where you start to see some recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So, so if you got, do you remember what did you get in April? Like how many subscribers?
Let's see. Sign-ups.
Yeah, so that's where you hit your peak of 4,000. Then was right after that.
Man, this freaking
ballpark it. I mean, was it 40, 50?
40.
40. So, and then your customer value on that's like, what was your average customer value on the old model?
$10.
10?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Over the lifetime or monthly?
Oh, monthly.
Yeah. What's like the average? What's their like? Was it like $30 or $40, right?
It was like 65. So
65. So your last promotion basically netted you $2,600.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did a discount push now at like 197,
Mm-hmm.
that could generate a nice little windfall. It wouldn't take that many subscribers to get you a nice little shot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your big problem here is that it's just freaking hard to convert people to this subscription model.
Right. Which is why I've been trying to push for the bundle sales. The goal was to spend the last 2 months building a boost in the arm with bundle sales.
Right.
To get the cash flow that way so that we could move forward with the get people into the goal is to get people into bundle sales, and once they're in the bundle sales, then it becomes easier to show for them to see the value of the full membership.
Right.
Because they already know the value of the screencasts.
Could you do could you rerun one of your existing promotions for your bundles? So run a bundle sale basically.
Yeah, like take the launch sequence from the RabbitMQ one last year.
Yeah.
Probably.
And that's one. I mean, honestly, like that's what we have. You can automate that too. If you reran that and it worked, you could just set that up in Drip to run every 60 days once people subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd be hitting them with that 60 days after they come on board.
Yeah, that has not worked for me. I've got that launch sequence automated right now as when you get into my mailing list from any RabbitMQ blog post, that's what you get. You're on that sequence, and it doesn't sell very many, 1 or 2 a month, which may just be a traffic problem.
Yeah, I think that's how many people are going through it every month.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure how to find that information.
Yeah.
I think we talked through a lot of options here. I think what we may want to do is just, listen back through, figure out what you need to know to make a decision on what you think might best get you through.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss over the email list, and then in 2 weeks we can come back to it. Because I think there's a lot of brainstorming here. There are a lot of directions that I think you can go. So yeah, what are the blockers? What are the actual numbers? What information do you need in order to make, that would make that decision for you?
Right. And those
I think at this point you have no confidence that anything's going to work.
Yeah, I don't, because everything that I've tried has failed. I mean, that's the crux of the problem, of the crisis that I'm currently having. It's, I continuously try things that are supposed to work, and they don't.
Hmm.
I mean, when I get to this point in code, it's okay, I'm looking at a new framework. But I very rarely get to this point in code. It's a huge part of it is just mental blocks on me, and I understand that. I have continuously looked for ways to get past these mental blocks. I mean, when I sit down and write code, I run into failures, and I end up feeling like this with my projects on a frequent basis, and it's just a matter of stepping away, plowing through something later, and figuring it out. And I don't know how to do that when it comes to marketing, because I don't understand why this stuff doesn't work to begin with. I mean, code, there's always some logic, there's some reasoning, there's something that I missed, and I just need to find, just need to trace through the problem until I dig deep enough to see it. But with marketing, it's people, not logic.
I think a big part of the problem is that you're declaring defeat too early on some of this stuff. Like the course, so the JavaScript this course, I would bet money that it will work to some extent. Once you get enough people through it, it's going to work. You'll get some percentage. And so, to say that it's not working is just because it's not working as well as you want it to, it's not necessarily the same thing as completely failing. And everything that you've done has not failed. You have a business where you're making, as $3,000 to $5,000 a month. What you're doing is working. It's just not working as well as you'd like. And
it's not moving me forward at all. And at this point, I am moving backwards because I have significantly higher expenses right now than I did 3 months ago. And those expenses were supposed to be an investment to allow me to move the business forward.
Right, and so the expenses are a big part of why you're panicking.
I mean, I could solve this problem today by firing all of my editors. That would save me $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And then I would be stuck with 20 hours a week of video editing because I'm slow. I'm having to do that right now. My primary screencast editor is out of town until the end of the month. So I spent an hour before getting on this call editing half of a screencast after spending an hour recording it, after spending an hour preparing for it. So I mean it's a lot of effort, which is why I hired people to do this. Because I can spend that hour and a half preparing and recording and then be done with it because I've got an editor that will take care of it for me. So I don't want to get rid of my editors because they do better work than I do and they do it faster. But it's expensive.
For that to be worth it, you have to have confidence that whatever you're doing with the time is more valuable than what you're paying them.
Right, and right now I have no confidence in anything that I'm doing. My confidence in my ability to make any of this marketing stuff work is next to nothing right now. I mean, I guess the best option right now would either be rerun one of the old product launches to my mailing list or a sale on the subscriptions.
Right. Or coming up with some way to do your video dropped out there for a second. What about a one-time, so rather than discounting your full price membership, what about a one-time limited access type of arrangement where you basically sell people 30-day access or something? So for
well, that's what we talked about earlier with me running into the problems with the platform I'm on.
Is there any other way that you could hack it together? Because could you have people pay with PayPal and then manually create an account and restrict content pro? Is there anything?
I can get people into the system easy. I can give people a 30-day discount or a 30-day trial for however much I want. That part's easy. Where it becomes manual is once you're done with that trial period.
Yeah, no, I understand.
At that point, there's no automated way for me to move people.
Yeah, they've got to sign up again, basically.
Right. Or I have to manually move them. I mean, they don't have to sign up again. They have to re-enter their credit card information.
Right. Yeah, which is sign. I mean, that's the hard part. Getting people to do that is the hard part.
Yeah.
I mean, so just to generate some short-term cash, that would be one thing you could do. Would be to just sell like a 30-day access, like like a limited time access to just get some cash in the door, and that could potentially shake out into a few more subscribers, because that way you don't have to. I'd like to not do the discount on the big membership if possible.
I don't want to do that either. That's one of the big no-nos that we kept hearing about at MicroConf, and that was one of the big drivers of moving to the current pricing structure.
Right. Is there an amount of money that would like help you relax a little bit?
I am $2,500 behind in my retirement program. I've had this payment due for my retirement program sitting in my pile of bills for 3 months, and I haven't been able to pay it. I am about $10,000 in debt on my credit cards. So, I mean, at a minimum, $2,500 so that I can put it into my retirement fund. Anything more than that would be really nice to start paying down those credit cards again. I mean, I brought in $14,000 with the RabbitMQ over. It took about 3-4 months to get over 10,000. It was like 6,000, 7,000 on launch, and then up to 10,000 in the next 3 months, and then another 4,000 over the last 6 months. So I could bring in a couple of thousand potentially off of relaunching that to my mailing list.
Yeah. I think either doing that or some kind of limited preview of Watch Me Code.
The limited preview just adds a ton more manual work, though, and it won't bring in as much. I mean, if I sold 10 copies of RabbitMQ, it would be $2,000.
Right.
Almost $2,500. And if I sold $30 trials for a month of Watch Me Code, I mean, what's the math on that?
How many people are on your
sell
list?
84 of them. I've got 7,700 people on my mailing list total, segmented in different ways, but only a fraction of. There's probably 5,000 that are not Watch Me Code subscribers. But then there's those 1,200 people that are dead subscribers.
Right. But that's always the case on any list. So
yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know. Yeah, either of those could. I think you could probably run a 30 days for $30 promotion and sell 2% of your list on that, which would be like around $4,000. Because it's a lower price point. But either that or relaunching the RabbitMQ thing, both of those seem like they would be a really good way to get a short-term cash bump here.
Mm-hmm.
If you do decide to go for some kind of trial, that could always be something that you automate too.
Yeah, which.
So like after 60 days, if they haven't signed up, they get like a 30-day kind of like special offer downsell type of thing.
Yeah, and you can also, I mean, if you can't automate it with code, you could hire somebody on Upwork that can shuffle people's data and accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it manually, see if it works, and then.
Yeah, well, having to put the credit card in, I'm not really thinking of that as like a long-term thing. I'm thinking more like if you run this once and you get a pretty good response from it, then you figure out how to make it permanent and how to like use it as an upsell, or how to get people to try it first and then bill them So it would be like just test out the idea.
If I can get them to commit to the 1 year prior to the 30 days expiring, then they won't have to re-enter their credit card.
Oh.
I just remembered that. That was a feature that they added to RCP about 2 months ago.
How do they commit then?
They have to they go through the pricing page again, and when they click on the button to subscribe, it will basically just confirm that they want to upgrade.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I know Restrict Content Pro added that feature a couple of months ago. I don't know if the way I have things set up works properly, because I've done a lot of customization to the sign-up process.
If you could make that if you could somehow like use the API to make that into a one-click thing from an email versus having them go through a couple pages, that would be pretty killer.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I'm probably going to run down the path of the trial. That seems like it's going to be the best option.
Before you go even and do that, think about, is there a way you could just like test it? Could you like carve out a small piece of your list and just like email them? You know what I mean? Like carve out like 300 people or 500 people and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, even if it's just like a really informal email. Like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is this something you'd be interested in? And try to get money for it. Versus like, because I don't really want you to spend. I think I'd really like to see you not spend a month.
Are you saying send people the email saying I'm thinking about doing this? Would you be interested, or are you saying send the email and ask them for money because I am doing it?
I would say carve out a small chunk of your list and basically try to come up with the stupid simplest way that you could possibly do to offer this that involves next to no work, and try to get people to give you money for it.
The whole thing takes almost no work.
Okay. Well, what I don't want you to do is spend like a month writing emails and setting up this big event and then having it.
No, the sending one email to 500 people is more work than setting up a new pricing plan.
Okay.
A 1 month trial pricing plan. It's the automation at the end of that month that makes everything difficult.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's literally 3 form fields and then a new page with a short code. That's like, I'll have that done in half an hour. And then writing those emails is going to take me 2 or 3 hours.
Okay. Well, do it to a small part of your list so you don't feel like if it doesn't work at all. Like if you send it to 300 to 500 people and you get next to no response, then don't do it to your whole list.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll just be like. You'll just be embarrassing yourself, basically. You know, like you'll feel like, oh man, I fell on my face. So.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna have to test out. I'm gonna have to check the upgrade process to see if it actually works. I think it does, but I don't remember for sure. I know if they cancel, or if their account expires and they want to renew, they do have to re-enter their credit card info, which I also don't like, because I've still got their credit card info in Stripe, but it makes them re-enter.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Yeah, it's again, it's the lowest common denominator. I did look through MemberPress real quick while we were talking, and they do offer trials on their discount coupons. So maybe MemberPress is long-term the better way to go. I would have to see what kind of API they have for controlling the content.
I think you should find something, like, before you do that, you want to figure out if this actually works, right? Like, so.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So how about this then? If you can figure out the payment issue, whatever the back end's going to look like, and then just do a 48-hour. Hey, I'm doing this 30 days. It's like a promotion, right? It's 30 days for $30 or however you end up pricing it, and it's 48 hours only. And figure out a way to prevent them from getting to that page after that time.
Oh, that's easy. Deadline funnel.
Yeah, there you go. And just make it, and then if it works like crazy, then you can automate it. If it doesn't, well, you'll make some money off of it. Right. It'll help with your bills. And I think having something like that in there will help you sell the bigger subscriptions long term.
Right.
So, and if you use it as a downsell, like if you pick up, so if you're selling 2, 3, 4 of the big subscriptions a month, and then you're going to pick up with something like this, you'll probably pick up 2% of people that subscribe to your list every month if it's automated. So that'll help, and just overall will increase your customer lifetime value.
Mm.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, I gotta go get my physical done. So I hate to cut it off, but I've got to. You two can keep talking, and I can just go.
I'm done. I need to stop talking.
Yep.
My brain hurts.
I just hate being that guy, right?
You and your physicals.
I know,
Let's get physical.
That's
there it goes.
Derick's thought for the week.
Yes, it is.
I got no thoughts. Let's just call it.
Yeah.
So we will not meet next week.
Nope. For the first time in like 2.5, 3.5 years.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. All right.
All right.
I will be on top of a mountain. See ya.
Bye.
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 Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.